This idea is not new. Long before the modern world existed, thinkers and builders understood that sexual energy could be directed towards something far greater than temporary pleasure. One of the clearest explanations of this appears in Think and Grow Rich. In that book, Napoleon Hill wrote about a principle called sexual transmutation. He studied some of the most successful men of his era, industrialists, inventors, entrepreneurs, leaders, and he noticed something interesting. Many of them possessed enormous sexual energy, but instead of wasting it, they redirected it. They converted it into ambition, into creativity, into persistence, into the ability to work longer, think deeper, and pursue goals with relentless intensity. Hill called this one of the most powerful forces available to a man, because sexual energy is not just physical, it is motivational energy. When it is uncontrolled, it pulls a man toward pleasure. When it is directed, it pushes a man toward achievement. History is full of examples of men who understood this instinctively. Take Nikola Tesla. Tesla famously chose to remain celibate for much of his life because he believed his creative work required total concentration. He believed his inventions demanded every ounce of his mental energy. Whether people agree with his decision or not, the result is undeniable. His focused mind produced innovations that changed the entire world. Or consider Marcus Aurelius. As the ruler of Rome, he constantly wrote about the importance of self-command. Control your impulses, control your reactions, direct your energy toward duty. The most powerful man in the world still believed his greatest responsibility was mastery over himself. And that lesson repeats throughout history. The men who shape civilizations are rarely the men who chase pleasure. They are the men who can delay it, the men who can hold their focus, the men who can take the strongest drives in the human body and direct them toward building something meaningful. That is what sexual discipline really represents. It is not suppression, it is redirection. The same energy that drives attraction, desire, and pursuit can also drive ambition, creativity, and achievement, but only if it is directed. And that is the real difference between men who drift through life and men who shape it. One group releases their energy the moment they feel it. The other group channels it. They convert it into focus. They convert it into work. They convert it into leverage. And over years, that leverage compounds. Careers are built. Companies are created. Influence grows because the strongest force inside them was never wasted. It was directed. And that is the real reason powerful men control their sexual energy. Not because they fear pleasure, but because they understand power. Now here is where this becomes uncomfortable, because controlling sexual energy does not just change productivity, it changes presence. You can feel the difference between a man who is scattered and a man who is contained. The scattered man moves quickly. He speaks quickly. His attention jumps from thing to thing. His energy feels restless. The contained man is different. He is calm. His movements are slower. His attention is stable. When he looks at something, he is actually there. People feel that. They may not know why, but they feel it. This is what most people misunderstand about status. Status is not loud confidence. Status is nervous system control. When a man constantly leaks his energy through impulse and stimulation, his nervous system becomes reactive. He becomes impatient. He becomes distracted. His attention collapses under pressure, and people sense that instability. A man who cannot control himself does not feel trustworthy. He does not feel grounded. He does not feel dangerous. But when a man begins controlling his impulses, something changes. His attention stabilizes. His emotions slow down. His reactions become deliberate. Instead of chasing stimulation, he directs his focus. That shift creates presence, and presence is the foundation of authority. Look at the men who command rooms. They do not try to dominate the room. They simply enter it with composure. They listen more than they speak. They do not rush. They do not react to everything around them. Their nervous system is steady, and steady men create gravity. People naturally pay attention to them, not because they are louder, because they are contained. This is where sexual discipline begins to affect everything else. The same control you build over impulses becomes control over attention. The same control over attention becomes control over emotion. And emotional control becomes influence. This is why powerful men rarely appear frantic. They move with intention. They think before reacting. They do not chase validation because their energy is not leaking in 10 different directions. It is concentrated, and concentrated energy creates a very specific psychological signal. Competence. People trust the man who appears internally organized. People follow the man who appears internally stable. People respect the man who appears difficult to move emotionally. None of that can exist if a man cannot control his impulses. This is why powerful men do not see sexual discipline as restriction. They see it as strategic. It allows them to direct the strongest biological force in their body towards something meaningful, instead of wasting it on temporary stimulation. And once a man learns to do that consistently, something interesting happens. His focus compounds, his presence compounds, his influence compounds, and over time, he becomes the type of man who shapes outcomes instead of reacting to them. Most people think powerful men control their sexual energy because of morality. They think it is about discipline, purity, religion, or self-improvement. It is not. Powerful men control their sexual energy for a completely different reason. Leverage. Every ambitious man is born with a certain kind of energy inside him. It is the drive to compete, to build, to dominate a field, to create something that did not exist before. That energy is not abstract. It is biological. It is the same force that pushes a man to pursue women, pursue success, pursue status, and pursue power. But here is where the modern world confuses men. Instead of directing that energy toward building something meaningful, it offers a shortcut. Instant pleasure, endless stimulation, unlimited release. And the moment a man begins choosing constant release over direction, something subtle begins to happen. His urgency fades, his attention weakens, his focus becomes fragmented. He still has ambition, but it becomes inconsistent. One week he is driven, the next week he feels flat. One day he is focused, the next day he cannot sit still long enough to finish what he started. Most men assume this is normal, but historically, powerful men understood something different. They understood that sexual energy is not just about reproduction. It is drive. It is aggression. It is the raw biological force that fuels ambition. When that energy is scattered, ambition becomes scattered. When that energy is controlled, ambition becomes concentrated. Look at men who build empires, lead movements, create industries. They are not casual with their attention. They're not casual with their impulses. They guard their focus like a weapon. Because attention is the gateway to leverage, and leverage is what multiplies effort. A distracted man may work hard, but his effort stays small. A focused man compounds effort over time, and compounding effort is how fortunes are built. This is why powerful men are careful with how they direct their energy, not because pleasure is evil, because pleasure is expensive. Every indulgence costs something. It costs attention, it costs momentum, it costs the psychological edge that comes from restraint, and over time, those costs accumulate. One man leaks his energy daily, another man concentrates it. 10 years later, their lives look completely different. One has built influence, the other has built excuses. The difference was never intelligence, it was direction. Sexual energy is one of the strongest forces inside a man. Most men dissipate it. A small number of men weaponize it, and the men who learn to weaponize it become extremely difficult to compete with, because their focus is sharper, their presence is stronger, and their ambition is fueled by something deeper than temporary pleasure.